Welcome to the third part of this 5-part series. In this series we're busy looking at how we can use Excel business intelligence tools to easily understand and analyze our human resource data. In this presentation we're going to be analyzing two tables of human resource data. We're going to have an employee master data file and we're going to have a training data file. And we're going to show you how we can use tools such as Power Pivot to easily link these two tables and to be able to produce data and reports and analysis from this. So before we begin, let's first have an understanding of why Power Pivot is so important in Excel. Power Pivot is a database which allows us to analyze and work with millions of records of data if need be. We can also create relationships between tables of data. This makes it easy for us to analyze data which is across multiple tables, like in this example where we have an employee master file and we also have a training data file. The next reason about the introduction of the DAX Formula Language. This is a formula language that is very Excel in the way that it works, but it gives us a lot of new powerful functions and make it very easy to create key metrics and new types of formulas that we may need. And we can still use our pivot tables, pivot charts and Power View tools to analyze this data, giving us new ways of being able to understand our data. In this session we're going to be showing you how to use Power Pivot to be able to use more than one table of human resource data to be able to do your analysis of your data. So in previous sessions you'll have seen that we had a master data file, and using a pivot table we're easily able to create reports and management reports and data analysis. So over here in our master you can see that we've got an employee ID, employee name, some age, race, classification, marital status, gender, length of service and department type of information, sort of traditional employee information. Over here we have a workshop table. So we have a start date for our workshop, what the course code was, which employees, the employee ID of the people that attended, the cost, the supplier of their, and the year and month that this training happened. So you can see now that this is a bit of a different to pivot tables. Normally we only see one table in our pivot table. Here we have two tables in our pivot table. So we have a master and a workshop data. So over here if we want to create some new reports, for instance, we could easily do this. Say for instance we wanted to see what was our training cost by suppliers. So we're able to pull down our suppliers and our training cost, and you can see now that we have our total training cost by supplier, which is normal, and we would expect to be able to do that with one table. However, the beauty of this is that we can use two tables. So if I wanted now to use information that is in this master field, so for example in the workshop file I have an employee ID, so I can see total training cost by the employee ID, but I actually cannot see who the person is. So it's often nice to have an actual employee name. So over here in the master data we can actually use our employee name. Now you see that I actually get the employee name straight away. I don't need to do anything funny to get that information. So I could actually see the training cost. I can also see for instance down here I've got the number of courses. So if we were to use that for instance, we can actually see the number of courses that each of the employees have actually run. So I'm using these two tables easily between the two. Some other examples that I could do, let's say for instance I want to see the training cost and the number of courses by department. No problem. I can drag that out and I can move to my master file, and down here we have our department. So now I've got my total training cost and my number of distinct courses by our different departments. So as you can see, this is very easy to be able to work with. If I remove my department out of here, let's say I go to my chart over here, and over my chart for instance I might want to be able to see how much information is able to, let's say our training cost, and we want to see this, it's going to say by gender. So now we want to see how much has been spent on male and females. We can also see for instance how much has been done by department, for example. So let's just move that out, and there we have our totals. So as you can see, it's very easy to use pivot tables and pivot charts. We can also add filters onto this. Okay, so I've made some changes to the table over here. We have our total training cost and our distinct course counts. I've also added a slicer in here, and now I've got my training cost by year and month. So by being able to use the slicer now, I can use the two tables of information. So for instance, if I want to see my finance, you can see now how it shows me my training costs over this period of time, and also the total training cost and number of courses that have been run. So this is very easy to work with. So as you can see, the power of this is enormous. We're able to create some very powerful human resource data. So let's look behind the scenes and have a look at what's actually happening here. So we're using a product called Power Pivot. And if we go across to this managed data model in Excel 2013, it's actually being called the data model. And you can see once we come across into Power Pivot over here, we have a very Excel looking top screen over here. This is our data over here. So you can see the two tables that we're working with. We also have custom calculations over here. Now this is quite nice because it allows us to work with filters of information. So for instance, if we just wanted to see advanced Excel, then you could get your total training costs. So you're able to easily do some ad hoc analysis over here. Also, if we use this diagram view over here, you'll see that I've created a linkage between the two tables using employee ID. So as you can see, Power Pivot is an extremely powerful Excel business technology, and we hope to see you more on our training to learn more about this powerful product. If you would like to know more about our Excel Business Intelligence courses, please visit our websites. Thank you for your time today.